Now, how can I get a computer for free? Aha! You're looking at one of the cheapest people alive. And how am I going to make a gaming and video editing computer for free? Well, I've been collecting a lot of electronics over the years, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to sell what I got. With the profits that I make from those sales, I'm going to be buying my computer components, at least the ones that I need. How this all started was my gaming computer was just struggling to play anything other than Fortnite. COD Warzone came out and I thought, oh, I want to play that, and I decided, okay, I'm going to try to play that, and I knew my specs for the computer were not up to par. They were below the minimum requirements, but I thought, well, I'll try. And it did work for a few games, but it ended up just simply collapsing and quitting halfway through a game, or completely just, 20 FPS or something like that, unplayable. So I decided to upgrade. I'll also be using it for my video editing rig as well, so I have to make sure that when I do get my components that I think of that as well. As some of you know, I have a actual working computer desk that I am sitting at right now. And my components were under this nice beautiful glass, and it was really nice, but when I built it, it was built for just that video editing purpose, not for gaming, and the thermals weren't really top of mind. At least they weren't going to be an issue when I built this particular computer desk. But when I did put the components inside, I realized that thermals were going to be a big problem, plus the graphics card did not fit. It was too tall for this computer desk that I built. Even though it pained me greatly, I decided I'm going to combine my gaming and video editing computer into one, which I probably should have before. One of the reasons why I didn't put the gaming and video editing computer together before was mixing gaming and trying to work on some videos was not a good idea, because I ended up gaming more than I was video editing, which is currently happening because I have it right now. So I've been playing a lot of Warzone. I thought about getting an old computer, which over here is my daughter's, I think it's an HP. It's an i5 4570. It works really well. It games actually surprisingly well, almost as good as the one that I have here. And for that gaming computer over there, you can check out the link in the top right hand corner there. My right, left, my left, your right, just to see what that looks like. It was close to my birthday at the time, so I decided, you know what, let's splurge a little bit. But because I am pretty cheap, I thought, well, I'm not going to spend too much money, or I don't want to spend any money if I can. From the two computers, the gaming computer and my video editing computer, I can combine those and sell certain components and keep certain components that I'm going to use. After I put all the electronics together, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to sell it on Kijiji, which is just that kind of like Facebook marketplace type thing where you post your ad and you go meet the person. And I also posted on eBay, which I've never done before, and it was a pretty interesting experience. It's crazy the things that you can sell and what people will buy. Some of the stuff was actually broken. Like I had this camera that I dropped and broke. Also, really old laptop. So I made a video of this 13-year-old laptop, which I still used, and installed some Linux OSs on it, and worked great. But I sold that as well. So overall, to my amazement, things sold like wildfire, and soon I collected about $783 from all my sales. Now, if this was in the US, with $783, I could get a pretty nice computer. But we're in Canada, so that kind of money, surprisingly after taxes, doesn't come to a lot. Ultimately, I went for a B450 motherboard, so it's an AM4 socket, the Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigabytes of 3200 megahertz RAM, and I ended up getting a used GTX 970. I feel like the Ryzen 3600 should last me many years, with 6 cores and 12 threads, base clock of 3.6 gigahertz and a boost clock of 4.2 gigahertz. It was so much better than my A8 7600. The ASRock B450 motherboard at around $100 was super basic. It only has 2 RAM slots, but for the type of work that I'm doing and gaming that I'm doing, I only needed those 2 slots instead of having the 4 slots. The 16 gigabytes of RAM I think is just something that I needed to upgrade. Before I had just 8 gigabytes of RAM, which was sufficient for most of the things I needed to do, but that 16 megahertz just gives me a lot more bandwidth and room. The interesting thing is that GTX 970, and why did I go with that? I found it on eBay and it was used. It was from 2014. But in terms of specs, it should run everything I want it to run. My video editing software doesn't need a powerful graphics card. The game that I wanted to play, it should work with it, no problem. So I bought it for about $125 used Canadian, which is excellent, and that included the shipping. So I just felt like I couldn't go wrong. Now, ultimately, I was looking at a GTX 1660 Super. In Canadian dollars, that Super would go for at least 2.5 times more. So for me, the $125 was a steal. When I was looking for cases, I mean, this was actually harder than I thought it was going to be. It came out to about $90 after taxes. The Deepcool Matrix 55 mesh mid-tower case. So I ended up going for that, number one, because it was one of the cheaper ones out there. And my main criteria was that it had good airflow capabilities and space for my 2 SSDs and for my two 3.5-inch drives. Those 3.5-inch drives in this particular case get really good ventilation from the fans, and I don't have any problems of them getting too hot. Right now I've set it up because the fans, these are just the old fans from my computer desk case. They are three 120 millimeter fans blowing from the front. I have a 140 millimeter fan exhausting out the top, another 120 millimeter fan exhausting out the back. I don't care for the RGB, but I ended up going with this because I had red fans already, so in the end I kind of went with this red and black kind of theme. So now it's just red and black, just like a ladybug. I think it's a Stealth Spire cooler or something like that that comes with the Ryzen 5. It was just a little bit loud, actually. So after a lot of research, I ended up going with a Arctic Freezer 34 Esports Duo for about $90 after taxes, Canadian, of course. It's great. It's much quieter than the stock cooler. The performance is fantastic. Even though I had a budget just under $800, in the end, the total with everything that I purchased came out to about $869. I received about $650 in gift money. I think I have a little bit left over, so about $563 left over. If I go by my sales only, I spent only about $86 extra. So for this brand new, well, mostly brand new gaming and video editing computer, which is solid, I only spent about 86 bucks. But if I had my gift money in, free. The power supply was from my gaming computer. I already had that. It was 500 watt, which was more than enough to power the Ryzen 5 3600 and of course the GTX 970. I didn't have to purchase any SSDs or hard drives. Those are all my old ones that I had. Fans, all that kind of stuff were already old. Now the performance. I never do benchmarks. It's not something I do. I don't waste my time with that. But I just, does it work for me? For video editing, I noticed a couple of improvements. Number one, videos would render a lot faster and my workflow was going a lot quicker. Number two, oftentimes with the A8 7600, it would cut out quite a bit. The CPU usage was 100% pretty much for anything I was doing on that. So things would go kind of slow. Now for gameplay, my video skills, not bad, but not great. And at least I can't blame it on the hardware now. I'll give you some clips of my Call of Duty Warzone plays. The FPS rounds about 80 FPS through most of the gameplay. It varies, obviously. And I wanted to add some sniper moments in there because, sniper moments. That one shot kill, oof, just does it for me every time. So in conclusion, obviously I'm pretty happy with my computer. People can criticize what I purchased and why didn't I wait, why didn't I get a B550 motherboard, etc., etc. But at the time I just kind of wanted something working, and the Ryzen 5 3600 and the GTX 970 work fine. work exactly for what I wanted. I'm not a professional gamer nor editor, so spending more would not make sense. The second benefit was I purged a lot of old electronics, and as you can see with that list, holy smokes, I got rid of a lot of things, and amazingly how much money I made. So go out there, man. What are you waiting for? Sell some of your old stuff, the stuff that you don't need. Make some money. Upgrade. Have some fun. Now for the joke of the day. What do you call somebody with no body and no nose? Nobody knows. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next Ladybug adventure.